It
The
most
rioters
certainly did.
part, the protesting part had a lot to do with race, but you know, it had a lot to do with identity. That's what it had to do with.
Well, the men identified beating on that black man,
Yeah.
they weren't the only ones charged with the crime. Now the black man who was beaten and ended up with stitches in his head injuries, ended up breaking a wrist, ended up getting badly beaten. He's now being charged with dangerous, unlawful wounding.
Don't we live in a great country, folks?
If we want to call it,
You could be the one against the five, and then they gonna charge you with being the meanest one in the whole group because there's an innate fear within white people. But I don't think the innate fear was right there about that. I think that one of those what do you call them aphrodisiacs?
aphrodisiacs. I don't know.
No, what do you call those guys?
Antifa.
The Antifa. They're not the smartest rocks out there.
But we don't even. But he wasn't a part of Antifa.
No, but he joined in with the protest because those people with their tiki torches and their ninja masks and stuff were the ones out there just cutting up.
Yep.
Had nothing to do with anything. They were just out there with their Antifa kind of social warrior type of attitude. I'm sure that, I don't know if they get paid or there's just under the stupid guys that, well, at least you're not a Republican or at least you're not a Democrat. I don't know which one they're on that side. It's like they're just wishy-washy.
Right.
But it just shows that in this country, not only can you be as dumb as you want to be, that it's almost pushed upon you to be dumb.
Yep.
You know, it's like, how are you gonna be really thinking that you're gonna win this case against this one man? There's five of you against one, and you're charging him with the assaults. Well, he gonna come back and charge you later. So.
Well, a couple of the men that were in that video beating him have been charged, but I'll explain in a little bit why that black man would be charged, even though on video he's the one being beaten. DeAndre Harris, who is accused of unlawful wounding at the August 12th Charlottesville protest, was released on an unsecure bond. Photos and video of Mr. Harris, 20, being attacked by white men at the event were widely shared online. Two alleged assailants, only two, were charged with a malicious wounding in September. But many are incredulous that an African American set upon by white attackers at a far-right demonstration could face a criminal case. Another individual alleged that Mr. Harris attacked him, prompting the arrest warrant to be issued on Tuesday. Mr. Harris' lawyer, S. Lee Merritt, said the client did nothing wrong and authorities did not have probable cause to prosecute him. Mr. Harris could face up to 5 years in prison and a $2,500 fine. The attorney said his client, a former special education instruction assistant, suffered a concussion, a knee injury, and a fractured wrist. The assault also left him with a head laceration that requires stitches. We find it highly offensive and upsetting that Mr. Merritt told the Washington Post newspaper, but what's more jarring is that he's been charged with the same crime as the men who attacked him. Footage of the attack spread quickly on social media, showing at least 5 white men beating and kicking Mr. Harris to the ground in an indoor car park next to the police station during the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville. Mr. Harris' lawyer said his client was accused of wounding a man named Harold Ray Cruz. Video of the incident appears to show a scuffle between the two in which Mr. Harris swings a torch at a man identified by U.S. media as Mr. Cruz, who lunges at him with the pole of a Confederate flag. Mr. Harris' attorney maintains the torch did not make significant contact with Mr. Cruz, who describes himself on Twitter as a Southern nationalist attorney. The U.S. alleged crime victims can go to a magistrate after filing police reports. The magistrate only needs probable cause based on the alleged victim's testimony to grant an arrest warrant. Mr. Harris surrendered on Thursday, a day after police charged the man identified as Jacob Scott Goodwin, 22, in connection with the car park brawl. Police said Mr. Goodwin of Ward, Arkansas, can be seen on camera carrying a large plastic shield and kicking Mr. Harris, who was on the ground. What are your thoughts, Troop?
My thoughts are Mr. Harris had a fight with this guy who had a pole, and he had a tiki torch that he picked up.
Yep.
And he swung to defend himself against the pole. There was nothing in there that points to anything, any other thing that I can see.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't see any other thing. And then when the rest of the guys light on him and beat him and stuff like this, it's all over. He's the total victim in this case. There has to be some verbal understanding of how this thing started, and it's going to come back to who threw the first blow on that first indication with Cruz.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And that's where it's going to stem from.
Well,
but if it stems from that, then I'm sure that Mr. Harris his attorney would say, well, we're going to file a suit against him for damages for your injuries and all kinds of things like that. And, I mean, Cruz, you're going to lose.
Right.
It's really too bad.
I don't know if he's going to lose if it's in Virginia. He might win. I've seen stranger things happen.
There's strange things that happen, but it doesn't. And the only reason I can see if you have real skills,
mm-hmm.
you know, that you're able to take on 5 armed people and put whooping upon their behinds.
Yep.
Other than that, how you gonna be the one that's the perpetrator? You the victim.
Well, Daniel Borden, 18 of Ohio, and Alex Michael Ramos, 33 of Georgia, were also charged with malicious wounding last month in connection with the attack. So some of the attackers have been identified, and as they're being identified, they are being charged.
And they should be, and they should. It's going to come to money after all this, but they should, because Antifa, you're just a bunch of, not even bullies. Like I said, you're a bunch of cowards. You strike from behind women and you strike in mobs and stuff like that. You're like coyotes. You're not even wolves.
Well, correct. But only in America can a man be shown on camera being beaten by numerous other men and be charged with attacking one himself.
Exactly.
All it took was the chairman of a white supremacist group to say, that black guy attacked me, for charges to be brought upon him, and here we are, he's being charged. There's no proof that, or no video evidence, just the white racist words against DeAndre Harris' word. But excuse me, there is a video, however, I was wrong, there's a video, of Mr. DeAndre Harris being assaulted by this racist white nationalist buddies. It wasn't just that one guy attacking Harris.
No,
it was 5 men total, beating him to a bloody mess, broken bones, head injuries and all. Yeah. And after enduring all that, to lay insult to injury, he now has to fight for his freedom. When are we going to see some true justice, Troop? At the very least, some of the men in the video who are attacking Mr. Harris have been charged in connection with the attack. And we can't forget the one who attacked the counter-protesters by running down people with his car, killing 32-year-old Heather Heyer.
Yeah, forgot him.
Yep, the 32-year-old woman. And they just returned to Charlottesville this past weekend with tiki torches again, like they didn't get enough of the first time. And they were chanting, "We'll be back." So we're going to have a round 2. There's going to be a round 2, yep. It's people like them that you want to see justice happen to. There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And hate speech should not be protected under any amendment. However, there were incidents that did happen off camera, and this is the thing. Not everything was caught on iPhone. I really hope DeAndre Harris didn't attack that one man first and then get jumped by his friends, because that could have very well happened. DeAndre Harris could have thought it was going to be one-on-one, me versus this guy. He has a pole, I have a tiki torch, let's go at it. They went at it, and then his friends came and saw their friend getting beaten up, and decided to jump Mr. Harris afterwards. That could have very well happened. And if that did happen, then he should get charged.
No.
If he attacked first, he should be charged.
I don't think there should be any charge brought on Mr. Harris and everything. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. The protest was out of control.
Yep.
People poking things all over the place.
Right.
I don't think it's the smartest thing to take on 5 people at one time with your little tiki torch that you picked up. And they got flags and tiki torches and shields. I don't think that's very wise.
I don't think he thought that he would have to take on 5. I thought he was just thinking he had to take on 1.
I think he thought that he was just making all these posthumous gestures and all
swinging
this
the
stuff.
torch, and keeping.
Not even trying to hit anybody, just making all his posthumous gestures and stuff. Because that's basically what a lot of people like to do. But these Antifas, they're violent. They're like coyotes. There's someone down, they go right for the kill.
Yeah.
You know, and that group's out of control. And it's not even new. It's been around for a long time, and I don't know why it's allowed to exist.
Yeah.
I really don't know why it's, and I don't know why it's given any kind of real kind of validity, taking people to court and everything. It's known violent existing. It's so violent. It'll be on this side on Monday, but now let's go to the protest Wednesday. They'll be on that side on the protest.
Right.
Whatever way the wind's blowing, they're making all kinds of noises and stuff.
Right.
They're not a very good they're the evilest representation. Oh, I shouldn't say evil. They're the childish representation of this country. It's like this is they epitomize just how stupid you can be.
Right.
You know, and they hide behind the girls.
Yep.
Like, what's up with that? Cowards?
Well, the incident on camera could have very well been started by DeAndre Harris attacking that chairman before getting jumped by his cronies. It could have been overboard payback for DeAndre Harris attacking first. We don't know because 1, we weren't there, and 2, there's no video of the attack.
And there's no payback in this country. That's why we have a police force. You don't have really the rights to go out there and take matters into your own hands.
Which is why the police have to prosecute as many people as possible. So the next time when round 2 comes, and we've already established that there will be a round 2, people just don't decide to go get violent. If they don't charge these people, what's going to stop the next protest from becoming violent or from running people down with their cars or things like that? There has to be charges.
They should have stopped it from the first place. That's their job to do that. The police didn't get involved in this protest. This thing was way out of control. The police, and I don't even think they even got involved after the end of it either. They just didn't get involved in it.
Right.
They
Not
just
as much
let
as
it
they
continue.
Yeah.
It was like, where's the policing? There was no policing.
Well, as always, I hope whatever it is, I just hope the truth prevails. And when they do have this potential second protest, I wish and I pray that Antifa and all the counter-protesters that will go to Charlottesville will remember this verse, and that's 1 Thessalonians 5:15. See that no one repays evil for evil, but always seek to do good to one another and to everyone.
That's something to live by.
Yep.
But my hope is, I agree with that. My hope is that you don't use this as some victimization of black people. Even though that's what it's going to look like, that's pretty much what they're going to say it is.
Yep.
The main thing with all these kind of riots and stuff like that that's totally out of control is that it's just boosting racism back into the limelight of everyday occurrences. We're starting to look for racism in everything we see.
Yep.
And for me, it's no way to live.
Well, white nationalists carrying tiki torches is pretty racist, true.
Yeah, it's not. It could be construed as racism, except that these people don't have an agenda that boasts anything. They're on this side or they're on that side. Whichever way the wind's blowing, they don't care. They're out there just carrying their tiki torches, making noise. They've been doing it for years. They just now that they're doing it a lot more. because they never really were beat upon by the police or the judicial system. They're not new.
Mm-hmm.
They're not new, and now they just the news with the news media and everything pointing the finger at racism. This is all racism. This is all victimization. This is all here to hold the black man down so that the black man can't do anything. And if you keep buying that kind of mess, that's exactly what you're going to get from it.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope it doesn't go that way. I hope that we rise above this kind of thing and say, okay, enough of this. We want this. Bom,
right.
Bom, bom. That's what we want. We don't want to go back and give you a whole bunch of facts and explanations from, like, well, we're probably going to talk about that in a minute with Mike Ditka from 100 years ago or something like that. We don't want to have that.
Right.
It's the future that should be mattering most. Not looking at the past and say some silly cliche. Well, if you don't know your history, then you're bound to repeat it. You don't know your history.
Right.
So, it's like, stop it, people.
Right. Yeah, that story, we'll have to stay tuned to see how the court proceedings go, and we'll have to see if there is anything that happens with the second, with round 2 of the return of the tiki torches. That's what I'll call it.
Yeah.
Return of the tiki torches.
Yes,
all right.
They're just stupid people.
Yeah, very stupid.
And violent. They're stupid, violent, bunch of stupid, violent people.
Yes, very well said. In the next story, this story has upset me. This story has made me very, very sad. And it just speaks to where the country is going, down the toilet. HIV patients in California who expose others to the disease will no longer face felony charges. California's Governor Jerry Brown on Friday signed a law that lowers the penalty for exposing partners to HIV from a felony to a misdemeanor, which includes those who donate blood without informing the center about their HIV status. Let me repeat.
Yeah.
You can donate blood and with HIV and get virtually no trouble for it. A slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
A misdemeanor.
That's complacency at its height.
Today, California took a major step towards treating HIV as a public health issue instead of treating people living with HIV as criminals. Senator Scott Wiener from Democrat San Francisco told the Los Angeles Times. Exposing a person to HIV was treated more seriously under California law than infecting someone with any other communicable disease, a policy some lawmakers said was a relic of decades-old AIDS scare that unfairly punishes HIV-positive people based on outdated science. Under the old law, if a person who knows they are infected with HIV has unprotected sex without telling their partner they have the virus, they can be convicted of a felony and face years of jail time. Intentional transmission of any other communicable disease, even a potentially deadly condition like hepatitis, is a misdemeanor. These laws passed at the height of HIV/AIDS epidemic when there was enormous fear and ignorance, misinformation around HIV, Wiener early said. It's time for California to lead and to repeal these laws to send a clear signal that we're going to take a science-based approach to HIV, not a fear-based approach. Republican lawmaker Senator Joel Anderson reportedly voted against the bill. I'm of the mind that if you purposely inflict another with a disease that alters their lifestyle for the rest of their life, puts them on a regimen of medications to maintain any kind of normalcy, it should be a felony, Anderson said, according to the paper. True, I am pissed off.
I hate.
What are your thoughts?
Same as yours. That's just ridiculous.
Dumb.
That is like people. I don't know what this the first Wiener even considers it like this. You go out there and you literally knowingly give somebody HIV.
Yep.
And then they die eventually. You
Yes.
shorten their life. That's not a good thing to do. That's premeditated murder.
Yes, you're transmitting a virus that leads to one of the deadliest diseases in the world.
Yeah, and why are you spreading the virus? Who knows? You might be mad that you got the virus because you were acting stupid. It was only one night.
Yep.
And I didn't mean to. Well, sorry.
Right.
You didn't use your big boy brains. Now you got a disease that's going to kill you. So, I'm going to give it to somebody else too. I'm not going alone. Dumb. Even with the thing, HIV/AIDS. Mm-hmm. It's like they're trying to separate the AIDS out. It's like, if you transfer, I'm only giving HIV. I'm not giving AIDS.
Right.
No. Yeah, I agree with the second one there like this. For the rest of that person's life who gets the HIV virus and stuff, you gotta take medications. Mm-hmm. You're still within your own mindset. You're gonna start feeling like a leper.
Right.
Many people, and not a way to live.
Nobody wants to be around a person with AIDS.
No.
Or with HIV.
No, and it's definitely not a way to live.
So, let me get this straight.
That's just crazy. And I think that a lot of this stuff is just being coming across. I'll say it. Should I say it?
Go ahead.
I'll say it. The LBGPQRST team that's out there and stuff. Not that you are the only people that get it. It gets through blood transfusions. It gets through promiscuity with heterosexuals and all these people like this. But you guys have the bully pulpit.
Yep.
You guys have the floor at the moment. And whatever you guys are saying, and this seems to be followed suit with laws and stuff like that. So it's like, come on, guys.
Right.
What are you doing, man? Are you mad that you possibly have HIV? And then say, well, now that I got HIV, I can't go play promiscuity anymore.
Nope.
No, you shouldn't have been playing in the first place.
Right.
That's how you got it.
Right. But people make mistakes, true. Sometimes even condoms break and things happen, and the disease can get transferred in a lot of ways.
And there's a lot
and there are ignorant people.
Sure, there's many, many, many people out there who don't even know they have the disease.
Right.
But if you know you got the disease,
and you're knowingly giving it to people, and it just disgusts me, the thought of someone saying, I have this disease. Let me go to a blood bank and ruin it for everybody else.
Yeah, that's just really wrong.
Yeah, you should
lock them up.
Right. Stone them. Yes. Because other STDs like hepatitis are misdemeanors, you want to downgrade knowingly infecting others with HIV from a felony. How about upgrading knowingly infecting anyone with any STD as a felony? That's what you should do. You should upgrade the other ones instead of downgrading any of them.
Yeah.
Now Charlie Sheen can go and have sex with whoever he wants and infect anybody with the HIV virus and only worry about getting a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, and I think too we've become so used to the HIV/AIDS virus and stuff that we don't pay any attention to it anymore.
Right. Yep.
Just like with the other ones, hepatitis, the gonorrheas, the syphilises, and all these things like that. We don't pay attention to that stuff anymore.
Nope.
It doesn't. Oh, nah. That's just life.
Crazy.
It's like, and that transfers over into every other thing that we do.
Yep. It does.
And that's. I mean, if you want to live like that, go right ahead.
Well, the absurd thing about it is you could possibly get a harsher sentence for driving without a license than you can for giving someone a disease that there's no cure for. And Democratic's Scott Wiener has the nerve to say, today California took a major step towards treating HIV as a public health issue instead of treating people with HIV as criminals. What a dumb thing to say.
Yeah.
Mr. Wiener, you're not treating people with HIV as criminals. You're treating people with HIV who purposely infect others as criminals. And you should. There's a huge difference.
That act is criminal.
Yes, but I'm not surprised. You have great people in California. You have some of the nicest people in the world who live in California. Yeah. But you also have small cultures in California.
Yes.
Cultures of California that's all about having orgies, sexual misconduct. Hello, Harvey Weinstein. Yeah. Sexual assault and all-out rape. Why not allow transmitted viruses to get transferred with little to no repercussions? That's the question. I wonder if next, to treat it like a public health issue and not like treating it like a criminal act, they'll start giving out speeding tickets for infecting someone with the virus. Oh, nope, you gave that person AIDS. Here's a $15 ticket. I mean, Republican Joel Anderson was the only one with common sense in the whole thing. I'm of the mind that if you purposely inflict another with a disease that alters their lifestyle for the rest of their life, puts them on a regimen of medications to maintain any kind of normalcy, it should be a felony, Anderson said.
Felony, yeah.
Yep, he said that according to the paper, and he's absolutely right.
I think so, just as a deterrent to it. Yep. You know? At least make somebody think twice about doing it.
Right. Is the HIV virus the death sentence that it was years ago? No, it's not. You can live a life infected with the HIV virus, not AIDS. After you got AIDS, it's over.
But it's the same. It's the more.
Well, HIV is the virus. AIDS is the disease. Yeah. Once it matures. No, but I mean, once the virus matures into AIDS, that's when it's over. But I mean, you can live keeping it a virus and keeping it from turning to AIDS at a longer. You can live your life longer. It's still a death sentence.
It's still a death. You get sick, you get extra sick.
Yep.
And one of those extra sicknesses you don't recover.
And you make people
die from AIDS. They usually die from the extended pneumonia or something like that.
And people who are infected with the virus, they still now have to wake up every morning, take all these medications, get shots, get all of these things that they would not want before. It's unacceptable that anyone would want to infect another person anyway. Even if worse, if you found out that the person who did it with ill intentions.
Yeah. It's not a. All those diseases, they're not a good disease.
Nope.
They're not a good disease, and it's a sad thing because just on the psychological effect that it has, you still, when you look in that mirror, you're seeing somebody. Oh man, there's an end to my life coming, you know.
Right. Yep.
And it's coming fast.
Yep.
It's not like when you're looking in the mirror with your invincible self like that. Yeah, I'm going to go do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to try to do this. It does put a little dent into your plannings for the future. Mm-hmm. And especially when you get sick, because there's a lot of other diseases and viruses, and then your immune system can't be handling all these things.
Right. And this is a reason why I'm all for having protected sex. You don't want to be a victim of someone trying to purposely transmit a disease to you. It's obvious the Senator of California is not going to be looking out for you. So I strongly suggest you look out for yourself and wear a condom. At the end of the day,
training.
Yep, home training. Wear a condom. You have to look out for yourself because no one else is going to look out for you, and it's getting worse.
And you know, the hormones rage at such an early age. It's like that's the problem too. If the hormones rage later on when you're more responsible, might make it. But they start raging when you're about 12.
Yep, 12 years old, 13, 14. Yep, that's the age when it starts.
And now that you're acting the fool with this, let's get some marijuana to it. You act the real fool.
Yeah.
And I want some beers with the marijuana, and then the next thing you know, you're out of control. We're in a society that doesn't want anything but pleasures. And they don't care about the consequences, is what this bill's saying.
Yep.
Is you have the rights in this country to have all the pleasures that you can muster with no consequences or little consequences for your actions.
Yeah. A texter says, another reason not to visit California. Another texter says, this is the reason why the U.S. would be a much better place if California, along with its liberals and illegal aliens, would fall into the ocean. If you are hospitalized and need a blood transfusion in California, good luck with that. If you need a non-emergency surgery, go to another state. The socialist ultra-liberals in the highest tax state and looniest state in the U.S. just got worse.
Go ahead, text.
Yes, go ahead, text it. Thank you, Financent.
Yeah.
Financent, thank you for that text.
That was great.
Yep. Another
It looks like that.
Yep. Another texter says, steak not tofu says, stupid is as stupid does.
Yeah.
The horrendous state of California just won the National Award of the 21st century. Another texter, wow, we're getting a lot of texters. Halakar said, and the prestigious Harderperp Lifetime
Herpaderp.
Lifetime Achievement Award. I almost couldn't read it. Another texter says, isn't that essentially a license to kill?
That's what I'm looking at.
So, if this was 1990 when the disease and there wasn't as much medications and things that keep you alive with the disease, it would definitely be a license to kill. Your life is definitely not the same. It's altered.
Well, that's death. You know, there's physical death, and then there's that prolonged mental death.
Yes.
You get this disease, and your life's altered, just as you said, and in that altered state of being, your life's no longer your own, and you don't even have full control over your life anymore.
Right.
That's like a death sentence. You can't really do things that you once could do, and it was given to you by some vicious person who thought, well, I got it, so you gotta have it.
Right.
You know, nah. Stone them.
Yep.
More stoning. We got stone California.
Yeah, more people should be stoned to death, I guess. So, yeah, that's it for that story. Unfortunately, Troop, it is 11:05. So, yeah, we don't have to. We don't have time to really get into. Well, we could do one more story, I guess.
Okay.
All right. As long as you got time, I got the time. College football player cut from team for kneeling during the national anthem. A college football player was cut from his team for taking a knee during the national anthem before the start of the game, according to a report. At some point in life, there has to be a time when you've got to take a stand, said Guy Durante, a sophomore at a Division III Albright College in Pennsylvania, who kneeled for the second game in a row on Saturday. For me, it just happened to be on Saturday afternoon. Durante added, I was just taught. You fight for what you believe in, and you don't bow to anyone. I believe heavily in this, so I decided to fight for it. A spokeswoman for the college said in a statement to NBC 10 that Durante was cut for going against a team-wide decision to kneel during the coin toss and stand during the national anthem before the kickoff of the game. The action, which was supported by the coaching staff, was created as an expression of team unity out of the mutual respect team members have for one another and the value they place on their differences. The spokeswoman said it was established as a way to find common ground in a world with many different views. One football player who, unbeknownst to the coach and team, chose not to support the team unity and has been dismissed from the team, the spokeswoman continued. He remains a valued member of Albright College student body. A former teammate of Durante's, Josh Powell, told the news outlet that Durante broke a bond between teammates. We trusted him throughout the week. After time and time again, he told us he would stand, Powell said. When you can't have a player on a team that you can trust, he's got to go.
Yeah.
True. This is the one time where I agree, and this is the only time where I agree with standing for the national anthem.
I got still mixed feelings on the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the kneeling thing, I think it got too far out of control that it's lost its strength.
Yes, it has.
I really believe that. I think now, but it did give birth to something that I think needed to be given birth to into a lot of things just for living and making a better life for everybody in the country. And that's the idea of teamwork.
Yes.
Because civilians never really get to feel the ultimate connection of teamwork because their life is not on the line.
Right.
There's no real risk. You know, there's no real risk in the teamwork. You don't really have to depend upon that person on your left and right for your very existence.
Yep.
So, you know, that teamwork's not there. Even in the corporate world, the teamwork isn't there. You know, if you're not you don't approach the CEO and say, look here, CEO, I know we're supposed to be on the same team, but why don't we look at the situation like this? You don't do that if you're the janitor.
Okay.
You know? So
okay.
the teamwork's not. But in the football thing, this is the closest that they're going to get to actual teamwork, because you have to depend upon that person on the field.
Yes.
If he's an offensive lineman and you're a quarterback, halfback, or something, you're dependent upon that person to block. We're going to do a dive left. You don't want the person blocking you into the dive.
Right.
You know,
right.
all the people, you depend upon them doing what they're supposed to be doing, and that teamwork and that cohesion and all that comes together.
Yep.
And if the guy has the team says, all right, we're taking a vote on this here and we're going to do this here, then he should have done that. He should have stayed in the locker room.
He should have.
You know, he not take the knee. He went in defiance of what the team said.
Yep, he did.
Yeah, if he had stayed in the locker room, he'd say, or let the coach, I'm not down with this. I can't do this and anything. I'll stay in the locker room. I'll stay in the doorway and stuff. I'm not coming out.
Right.
You know, and that's all. Because I'm not going to advocate for anybody to say that you have to have this patriotism. Because I don't think most people have patriotism.
Nope, they don't.
If they had real patriotism, they had this real sense of moral values and this real sense of do the right thing, and that's what this country tries to make itself look like with all the, you know, the Bill of Rights and everything. It's only so that everybody can do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, then we wouldn't have the problems that we have in this country now.
Right.
You know, and yet. This guy, he should have been kicked off the team.
Yep, you're right.
He should not be given a whole lot of good publicity to make him into some modern superstar.
Right.
No, it's like if you wouldn't have been on my team in the military, I had a very elite team. No, I can't trust you.
Right.
You know?
You can't.
I can't trust you. That ain't going to work. My team, you had to be able to trust each and every other member of the team to do his job.
Yeah,
and know your job.
You're right.
You know, and really, yeah. No, we ain't gonna stone him.
No, we're not. So I'm kind of on the fence about this one, Troop. I think the only issue is not about taking a knee. I think the issue is the case of that if you're going to stand up for what you believe in, you should stand up in the locker room towards your teammates and everyone as well. You should have said something. It actually seems kind of sneaky to me. To kind of go the whole week saying, yeah, I'm going to stand, we'll stand, we'll only kneel during the coin toss. And then when it's time to go out there, all your whole team is standing and you decide to just take a knee. There's something sneaky about that, which is why I understand why they were upset. I'm on the fence because I don't think he should have been kicked off the team. Suspended maybe, because this is a very, very tense debate, a tense subject that's going on in the country right now. So for a person to kind of turn his back on something they feel this strongly about and something that's the sensitivity is that heightened, I'm sure he was torn between standing and kneeling. I'm sure if it was possible for him to please his team and kneel, that he would have did it, but he wasn't given that option. So he decided, maybe even at the last moment, I'm going to kneel anyways. And he decided to kneel. Yes, he was wrong. Yes, he should have told his team and his coaches beforehand, but I kind of understand why he did not.
I don't know. I would just be guessing on why he did not, but I know he did not. And I'm just looking at it from the perspective of, if you're part of the team, then you have to be part of the team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like that's what everybody in this country keeps aspiring to be.
Yep.
Team players and all this and stuff. But you know, with the kneeling and stuff, I think that it's time for the kneeling to either put on bigger shoes or find something else to do with it. I think that before the games and stuff, it ain't gonna be a whole lot. maybe a half a minute or something like that, you have a spokesperson come out there and say, this is why we're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
This is exactly why we're doing this. Because nobody's saying that.
Nope, they're not.
It's all been morphed out. The media said that Kaepernick said he's doing this because of this.
Mm-hmm.
Kaepernick didn't say it.
Right, he didn't.
You know? So I think it's time for the players in pro and collegiate level and even high school levels to finally stand up and say something to that effect. This is what this protest is about. This is what I'm protesting. I'm not out here protesting against the developments that have gone in the United States of America.
Right.
Or I am out here protesting against the way the United States has developed.
Yep.
But say it.
Yep, yeah, you're right. Say
You
it.
know?
But at the end of the day, kneeling is a form of free speech.
Yeah, it's a form of symbolic free speech.
Yes.
But use the verbs, use
Right.
the adjectives, use the nouns, use the words.
Yep.
Say what you want to say. Don't let it be open to interpretation all the time. And that's exactly where it is now. It's just open to interpretation. His taking the knee meant nothing. Until
To other people.
To other people, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and this is it's like, well, what are you going to gain from that? Modernism, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's time for and what will that take? 30 seconds?
Right.
A minute if you got a long-winded person?
Yep.
Like, it's not going to affect the game, but it will have a direct effect on people. Now people get the actual words of what's going on by the players and why they feel necessary, why they feel that they should do this. Not afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
You know, on some radio talk show. Like
Yep, you're right.
And then they can make their own decision.
Yep.
That's freedom of speech. This is freedom of symbolic representation based upon anybody's understanding of what they want.
Correct. Correct.
You know?
All right. Yeah, I just think that it's kind of the NFL now. They sent a memo out that's saying all players should stand for the national anthem. So to come to that conclusion, which is what most NFL teams are thinking now, I think about what them doing is pointless, spineless, and insulting to those who are truly taking a stand for our freedoms that we are afforded.
Yeah, I agree. Because what did the players say?
Right.
They didn't say anything.
Right. Yep.
You know,
So,
it's like they're the ones that's taking the knee.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and not just the owners. They should just have a spokesperson out there, even a second stringer. It doesn't matter, you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the quarterback or the owner. Could, you know, be anybody on the team should be able to stand out there and say to the folks, this is why we're taking the knee during the national anthem.
Right. And
You
then
know?
once they explain, you say, okay, they have a right to. The people mistake. They think NFL owners are plantation owners or something.
Yeah.
So they can tell the people how the players are supposed to go out and play. That's what they're owned. That's what they're paid to go out and play. Not stand for the national anthem, not stand for the coin toss or anything like that. So stop trying to make it seem like, oh, they are owners. Like they own black people or something like that.
Yeah,
That's another thing that's annoying.
You know, players didn't used to come out for the national anthem. They were
At
still
all.
strategizing the game.
Right.
You know? And then some liberal person said, hey, how come the players should come out and this will look good? Them all standing out there with their uniforms all clean and stuff and with their hands over their heart for the national anthem.
Right.
They weren't even on the field, people.
Nope, they weren't. So I mean, hey, that's what we have to deal with right now, and that is the story. But he should have gotten suspended. I don't think he should have gotten fired, kicked off the team. He said he's going to transfer to another school now, so he'll get a chance to play.
Please, it's like grow up.
Well, he's off the team. He still should. He wants to play football, so he should
grow up. Get yourself an education and stop. If you're that good, they wouldn't have
you might
thrown
be in
you
the
off.
NFL one day. Well, that's true. Maybe.
You know,
Yeah.
if you're really that good, they would have suspended you for a couple of games. So
Right.
grow up.
Oh, we'll see,
Yeah.
I guess. But we'll if we get any updates on that story, we'll take a look at that update as well.
Yeah.
All right, Troop. So, what are there any plans for the weekend?
I'm going to read a book.
All right.
I read all the time. And here's the book I'm going to read if they have it, folks. It Takes a Tribe.
It Takes a Tribe.
Building the Tough Mudder Movement.
You should also get the book.
Will Dean.
You should also get the book on Black Wall Street so you can learn about Black Wall Street.
But I've been to Oklahoma.
Tulsa?
I've been to Oklahoma.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you know about the history. I'm in Worcester. There's a lot of Worcester history that I don't know, and I lived here my whole life.
But I've been to Oklahoma. There's black towns in Oklahoma. There's white towns in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
They even got a big reserve that's full of nothing but buffalo and long-haired steer.
So you know what that means? That means that black town recovered from what was done to them
Could
by
be.
the people in that riot when they killed over 200 black people that lived in that small town.
I would like to know why the riot taking place in
That's why you got to read the book.
I think that the word Black Wall Street sends it's a good word for selling the book, but it's not what.
It's what they used to call it, Troop. It's what they called it in the early 1900s.
Yeah, they call Worcester. They also call because.
But you're looking at it through a 2017 lens, saying you don't like the name.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I think that the name looks as though this was going to be their economic and the inter-thing type of build-up.
Independence.
City. Yeah.
Yes.
Could be.
Yes.
I don't know.
That's what it was. That's why you need to read. Thank you. That's all I'm saying. Just read the book.
But just even if I read the book, I don't know what it was talking about.
Maybe your answers.
Wall Street, because I know there's all kinds of black towns out there in once you pass Mississippi.
Right, but this particular town was destroyed because they were black.
Yeah, I would like to know, and I don't have to read a book to find it. I can go on the internet to find that.
Okay, even do that.
What started the riot?
Okay, even do that.
Why don't you just tell me?
I told you that they were upset that they were making money and that they were afraid that they were going to lose out on their finance. It's hard for me to explain. It's hard for me to explain.
That's the whole thing.
But it was
what year was this?
1929 or 1930 something.
The 1930s and stuff.
Yep.
See, for me, who was upset?
The white people were upset.
Which white people?
The white people that lived in Oklahoma. True. This is. Why are you talking like you don't believe that it actually happened or something?
I believe that the riot probably happened and everything, but I also know that riots happened further. The Camp Logan riot in Texas that happened, where the blacks were the winners.
Yep.
And the police were the losers, and the white people were the losers. That all happened because one sergeant from Camp Logan got all mad at the police because they put a black lady in a state of undress. That all the other stuff and the racial stuff, that was all around the same time there too, that was taking place at the time as the country was developing, all came to a head because of that incident.
All right, well, let me tell you the incident that started Black Wall Street. Okay, it was alleged that a black man attempted to rape a white woman.
Okay.
And whites in the area refused to wait for the investigative process to play out, sparking 2 days of unprecedented racial violence. 35 city blocks went up in flames, 300 people died, and 800 injured.
Yeah. 300 people died and 800 injured.
Yes.
Well, I can see that now. I can see that. All the hate and all the everything finally came to a boil on the incident of a black man being charged with raping or allegedly charged with raping a white woman.
Yep.
I could see that,
Yep.
Got nothing to do with the name.
Yep.
And everybody just uses that name like it has some kind of real significance. That's got nothing to do with economics. That got to do with just a whole lot of interracial hatred of the period of 1920s and 1930s. That's what. There's no economics in there. I don't see the economics. That's the pure hatred that was around at that time, the systemic hatred that everybody just was internalized and came to a boil, just like in Camp Logan it came to a boil. Said the victors over here were the blacks, the victors over here were the whites. 300 people killed, but it didn't break it down to how many on each side.
What do you mean? How many were on each side?
How many white? How many black?
How many whites got killed?
Yeah.
They don't have a number for how many whites were killed because it doesn't show that white people got killed.
I know for a fact that you just can't have a massacre and just nobody else on the other side gets killed.
Well, they looted, they set buildings on fire, they killed.
They looted, set buildings on fire. I'm sure that looting and setting buildings on fire, everybody just doesn't become automatically righteous because, okay, let's go out here and
The police disregarded due process, arresting blacks and entering them into detention camps. Meanwhile, no whites were arrested. It doesn't sound like there were any white casualties, true?
There'd have to be casualties someplace.
I don't know. I don't see any. I mean,
it would be interesting, but I just couldn't just read a book on it because I'd have to know who the writer was and what, all kinds of things like that to get the full story of that. And then the backstory, I can see the backstory already because of the time.
Yeah.
The backstory was the racial hatred and stuff. It's Oklahoma. It's not the richest state. It's probably one of the ones everybody gets wrong when you got to name the 50. They forget Oklahoma.
Right.
And I can see that. I can see that. I totally can see all that there. The other stuff, I can see it, but, I can't connect it with what the stories that float around with it is. I don't see it as anything that has to do with this was a modeled economic boosting city for black people. I don't see that.
You don't see that it was, you don't see that was the motive? Or you don't see that?
I don't see that was the motive. There's too many black towns that's still in existence out there. That wasn't the only black town that was out there. There's a lot of black towns that's out there once you cross the Mississippi. A lot of black towns. I can see that there was a lot of hatred. I'm not saying that the hatred wasn't great and it wasn't cause a riot because I ain't got another point I can look over here. The hatred was just that great and it started a riot for a different reason. This one a woman of undress, this one a woman being raped. This one by a white people putting a woman in a state of undress, this one by a black man perpetrating the rape. I can even see the book that came out of that, To Kill a Mockingbird. That was about a black guy who was accused of being raped and didn't get the due diligence and the due process in the court.
Right. So you're not going to read a book?
I'm going to look it up on the internet.
Okay, good. Look at that. I'll accept that. Just look it up on the internet so you can see.
Yeah, I'm going to look it up on the internet. Take me a while because I'm going to look up at a lot of other things that paint the backstory and then paint what goes around and stuff like that. Because that time was that was a time that after the Civil War, during the Reconstruction period, not just the 11 years, but the extended part of the Reconstruction period. And that's the extended part of the Reconstruction period. The real introduction to the industrial age and stuff like this. A lot of bombing and stuff like that was getting beat up. And then you had the Great Dust Bowl thing. Nature jumped in and killed all kinds of crops and stuff. There was just so much going on at that time, and the South was still decimated. And the westward expansion was still moving. There was just huge money. Indians were being displaced all over the place. It was, the whole thing was totally a mess. It wasn't just about one incident. The news media was starting to be really sensationalized. They were starting to really sensationalize news before like that. The media wasn't sensationalized. The Hopper books and the other books were sensationalized. They took I forget his name. He was Beckwith. This guy Beckwith made him a hero for white people. Softened his nose and straightened his hair. That'll tell you what he was. He was black. And this was what was happening with the sensationalization because the westward expansion was rough, tough, tumbling and everything like this. You didn't have these big old people in industrial age over here, they would want to stay in their offices and make money with negotiations and stuff. Just like we see now.
Yeah.
The people that were doing the physical hard labor, making things work out there, they were black.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were black, and they were still down here. It's like, who wants to be the person, like the cowboy moving the cattle and stuff?
Right.
Who in their right mind wants to be behind 1,000 pooping cattle?
Yeah.
You know, not me.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna stink. You know, with dust and smell and green poop all over the place. You know, I ain't got time for that.
Yeah.
You know, but these are the backstories to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of backstories. That's what I do.
But
I will check it out.
Okay.
The name is what I never even gave it any thought because it said Black Wall Street. I don't know why they picked the name. You pick any name you want to for any name. We got 2 British names over here right here we live in Worcester,
mm-hmm.
and then we have next to that Salisbury, and all those things have to do with the Crusades in England.
I think they gave it the name Black Wall Street because it was a rich black town, one of the few rich black towns, if not the only rich black town, where the black people were actually rich. They are actually living good.
They had a rich black town in California.
In 1921?
Before that.
Okay.
You know, had a rich black town in California.
Mm-hmm.
You know that. I don't know if it was a rich black town. I just don't know. I can't see that as the reason why that happened, but you just told me why the reason was, and I could see that just as plainly as day that was the reason why.
Yeah, because that's similar to even Emmett Till.
No, they're similar to me to the Camp Logan incident.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
It was a defense of feminine honor.
Right. Emmett Till was that too.
Yeah, Emmett Till was. He was a young kid,
and he allegedly whistled at the white woman.
He didn't know any better.
Right.
You know that ain't got no. He was just a young kid
From Chicago.
He didn't know he wasn't supposed to do that.
Yep.
You know what?
And he paid for it with his life.
Yeah, those were ignorant times, and those were very brutal, vicious times like that.
Yep.
Very brutal, vicious times. And they shouldn't be subjected to the way people view history. They should be really researched and brought to light, and then people can really see what went on in that time. Other than that, they were so brutal. You know, mm-hmm. I mean, all they did was give them names, the Roaring Twenties and stuff. The whole country was out of control.
Yeah.
It just you know. You pick this thing, it was totally a mess.
Yep.
But on the other hand, steel was booming, the westward expansion was good, the railroads were coming together to unite the country, you know, so that you can go from east to west instead of just depending upon everything coming down the Missouri or the Mississippi from north to south.
Yeah.
You know, the whole industry of the United States was starting to mushroom up like the big old atomic bomb and everything like this, but it wasn't mushrooming up to the poor people.
Yep.
It was killing them. And they was being fed, spoon-fed in many cases, hatred with a lot of sugar on it.
Yeah, I mean, there's even reading the story about Black Wall Street is it just hurts to see how people get treated the way they got treated over something like that. But
yeah, it does. But then look at the rest of what blacks did after these things that took place. Look how they united within themselves, and these galvanized them to make inward roads. Then they got lost.
Yep.
So that's the sad part. All that thing got lost. They took it on and said, we ain't standing for this stuff anymore. And they took it upon themselves and they put the risk out there for themselves and to not do these things.
Yep.
And then people like, oh, what's his name? Melville or something? They killed him on his doorstep or something. That was a few years later.
I don't know.
Yeah. If I knew the name, you know. But
mm-hmm.
the other things were still happening at this time. Don't get started on history, huh?
Yep.
You had vagrancy laws that you couldn't ever get out of, so they were reinstituting slavery. Mm-hmm. You know, to at this time. You know, there was just so much going on at this time that it was out of control, and just to stay on one incident, mm-hmm. Nice. But know the whole backstory. And that's my whole thing about this. I don't know the backstory, so I'm going to have to look at the whole backstory. Yeah. I do know a whole bunch of the history from the Reconstruction period and stuff, because that was one of my studies in school, was on Reconstruction and then the Industrial Age. Mm-hmm. I know, but a lot of that history that I know is pointed because it's white history. Mm-hmm. They wrote the books, you know. I had to search to find the other histories and stuff, mostly from England. Right. Talking about the way the Americans were and stuff. So that was pointed too, you know. But their way was a little bit more open because they weren't here. Yeah. They were just observing it from the outside, and the pointedness of America was just way too pointed.
Yeah. Well, all right, Troop. We're gonna.
So that's what I'm doing this week. But still reading the other book.
Yes, as long you can read the other book, as long as you look up the history of Black Wall Street.
Black Wall Street.
All right, Troop. Anything you want to say to the listeners before we bid adieu for the weekend?
I want to tell all the people to go have their fun and find something that they can look up that they might be interested in, that's outside of their normal everyday thought process. Because for me, this is outside my normal everyday thought process, so I'm gonna look this up. So I want everybody to go and have that fun and look up something that they might be interested, whether it's how to make a souffle or, you know, whatever.
All right. I want everybody to have a good weekend. Sending out positive vibes today, positive vibes only. And have a good weekend. I'll see you guys on Monday. Trooper Joe will be back Tuesday.
Tuesday.
All right. I'll holla.
And y'all have that fun.